Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome back to InfoFlow Blazers. Today is Friday, June 7th, and there are 5 days until summer. I'm Emma.
And I'm Fiona. In wake of 2 reported tornadoes that struck Montgomery County on Wednesday evening, county officials are now focused on recovery efforts. The storm tracked from Poolesville to Germantown and Gaithersburg, continuing eastward to the Olney Brookville area.
King Charles traveled to mark the D-Day anniversary, while Prince William takes a greater role. Britain's King Charles III embarked on his first overseas trip since being diagnosed with cancer, traveling across the English Channel for commemorations marking the 80th anniversary of the 1944 D-Day landings in Normandy. Nearly 160,000 Allied troops landed on 5 stretches of the German-occupied Normandy coastline on June 6, 1944. Operation Overlord, D-Day's codename, remains to this day the largest amphibious invasion in history and was a crucial turning point in defeating the Nazis in World War II.
As many might be aware, we previously aired a pack about the magnet program that contained errors. We now present a corrected pack.
Do you feel alone and isolated in your classes? Have you ever overheard people whisper, "Hey Blazers, do you feel alone and isolated in your classes?" Have you ever overheard people whispering about how some people only get into prestigious universities because of race? This could have to do with something called imposter syndrome.
So what is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is when you are made to feel like your success is not deserved or earned legitimately. This could be feeling unworthy of a new promotion at work, or like you're not as qualified as your peers.
Now, imposter syndrome can arise from stereotypes and the climate of people's environments. So, for example, stereotypes about women being better at humanities while men are better at STEM could cause women in science classes to feel as though they don't compare to their male peers. And some symptoms of imposter syndrome can be severe doubt, lack of confidence in oneself and one's abilities, low self-esteem, anxiety, self-criticism, and shame.
Always remember that the stereotypes which create these feelings of imposter syndrome arise from sexism, racism, as well as microaggressions. For example, comments on people's promotions at work or behavior of excluding people from teamwork based off of their race or gender. It's not up to the people who experience imposter syndrome to change, but such feelings are imposed upon them by implicit or explicit biases. Now, let's hear from our Blazers about their thoughts on imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome to me is feeling like you don't belong in a space for any factor.
Not thinking you belong somewhere, regardless of how you got there.
Yeah, I think they do a little bit, so I kind of feel like nervous sometimes asking for help because I don't want to look bad compared to everybody else.
It has been difficult. There have been many times where I felt like I hadn't belonged because of just seeing the people around me. When people get into groups, they most likely get into groups of people who look like them, of their own race, right? People they've already known from before.
There have been a few instances of maybe like microaggression or two because of it, and that definitely contributes to the feeling.
Especially since I'm Indian, I'm not in the STEM program, but there's not that many Indian people in the CAP program. Our year there's actually there's more than in past years, but definitely the majority of the population being white, it's definitely added to those feelings.
When I first came to Blair's Magnet, I think sometimes people value your opinion a little bit less, or when they ask questions to the group, they don't really direct it to the girls so often.
I think teachers should really emphasize people asking for help, because I feel like a lot of the time some people just get left behind even when they really don't understand something, and it's even if they don't need to put extra class time into it, they can encourage them to come to lunch or other hours like that, because I feel like it's kind of hard to ask for help as a minority.
At the points where I don't have it, I'm well, if I wasn't capable enough to be in the program, I would have failed many points earlier.
I think that everyone belongs in the program. Everyone deserves their spot. It doesn't really matter what race you are because everyone's smart.
So.
Now, let's talk magnet emissions in MCPS.
Let's set the record straight here. In MCPS, no high schools, including Montgomery-Blair, use a lottery-based program, nor do they plan to for the foreseeable future. Now, this means for the admissions, students are judged purely based on their written interest in STEM and humanities, their appropriate math test scores, and their academic achievement from 7th and 8th grade. They do not use lottery-based programs or application systems. Now, this lottery rumor, this is because magnet middle schools use a lottery-based system as of 2020. This requires students to have A's in the respective courses for their STEM and humanities classes and be in the 85th percentile for the respective math test scores.
Anti-racism is a term discussed in Dr. Ibram X. Kendi's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist. It's defined as endorsing racial equality, locating the roots of problems in power and policies, and confronting racial inequalities. Racist and anti-racist identities are not fixed, so we each have the power to regularly reflect on our actions and align them with the identity we wish to represent. As stated by Dr. Kendi, being an anti-racist requires persistent self-awareness, constant self-criticism, and regular self-examination.
An unfortunate example of racism within our school is the segregation seen in higher-level AP and magnet courses, signaling the need to empower students of color voices within and outside these classes. Within Blair, we must prioritize admitting that we have all been taught to believe racial stereotypes and work on unlearning these beliefs about those different from us. If you are interested in further discussions on topics like imposter syndrome, anti-racism, and equity, we recommend you sign up for Analysis of Equity and Identity in STEM next year.
The class is an elective class that all students at Blair High School can take, no matter if you're in the magnet program or not. The mission of the class is to bring a critical analysis of race, gender, class, sexuality, language, citizenship status to the fields of science, tech, engineering, and math.
When you're in the STEM field, not a lot of thought is given to the people who are within the field and not just the actual content that is being learned. And I think especially as we move from high school to college, people who want to pursue STEM related fields need to be aware of issues within the fields, especially those pertaining to diversity and equity. And I think that's something that's not really covered in the regular curriculum anywhere.
I think this class is important because we don't normally think about how their biases between something as we think is as objective as science, and it's good to have a perspective on that.
Not many classes you're able to kind of sit back and just have intellectual conversations with people rather than just doing busy work, so I think that's definitely a really fun part of this.
Hey Blazers, can you sing or beatbox? Audition for Intonation, Blair's a cappella choir. Auditions are this week during lunch on Wednesday through Friday in room 5. Come prepared to form 30 seconds to 1 minute of a song of your choice. We hope to see you there. And that's all for today's show. Check out our website at bnconline.net to submit any announcements, and follow us at BNC_Blair on Instagram and at BNC Blair on TikTok and on Twitter. Have a frivolous Friday, and we'll see you next time, Blazers.